Welcome back to part 2 of session organisation. In this video we're going to have a look at creating track stacks and submixes, as well as creating marker tracks and saving iterative versions of our project. There might be instances where you want to control a selection of tracks as one track, be that in level or to add some additional processing. So we can create these submixes within our project, and in this instance I'm going to submix some of the tracks here that are color coded to the same color. So I can do that by pressing Command, Shift and D, and it will bring up a summing stack option, which not only groups those all together with another fader and another bus, but it also allows you to process that bus with an effects chain. So it's not a VCA fader where you're just controlling the volume of all 4 of those tracks with one fader, but you can actually process at the channel strip stage to add EQ that gets applied to all the hi-hats together and all the rides, etc. So I'm going to use that and create one there. So sum2, I'm going to type hats submix. Again, I'm going to colour in that bus, because I know that it's an output bus, a submix, so I want that to be color coded as well. I can do the same for the top loops. I'm going to create a submix for them. I'm going to do the same for the crashes. And I'm going to leave those hall kicks and snares alone. I'm also going to leave the clap and snare alone. Those two might have been, they kind of do work as a musical unit, so you could sensibly create a submix for those, but in this instance I'm going to just opt not to. Now hopefully we should see that the hi-hats are all going to bus 2. The input bus 2 is that hi-hat submix, and that itself is going out to bus 1, so that's going to the submaster. Same deal with the top loops, they're all going out to bus 3. Bus 3 is the input of your aux track here, and that is going to bus 1, so that's going to the submaster. So we still shouldn't see any stereo out on any of these tracks here, except for the submaster itself and any reference tracks we have afterwards. And I think now that my session is nicely organised, color coded, I can see what's going on in terms of the structure of the track. I've got some submixes set up. Not every one that I'm going to use, by the way. In fact, actually, let's add in an SFX submix. Submix there. I'm going to essentially create a mid bass. Mid-bass submix. Create an acid bass submix. Highlight those 2 tracks. Bring my colour bar up again and colour them to be my dark purple, so even if I didn't have the disclosure triangles on, I could see, or even if I didn't notice those, by the colour I can see that those are broken up, and I know that those are going to be the submixes for the tracks that come underneath, roughly in those orders. I'm now going to add in some global tracks here, so if I press G on my QWERTY keyboard, I can bring up this section of global tracks, and I'm going to control click in here, and I'm only going to deselect the things that I don't want. I'm going to create a marker selection here, and the start of the track really here is actually bar 5, so I'm going to add a marker in here. The next important section is at this bar, at bar 37. I'm going to add in a secondary marker there. A third marker here. I'll call that the pre-roll intro. I think this is where the baseline comes in, so baseline entry. I'm going to colour these in as well. Again, just going for my favoured rainbow system. Doesn't really matter what system you use, just so as long as you've got one. Although, personally, I do think you're a bit of a monster if you don't go for the colourful rainbow version. So we've got that there, which now allows us to kind of navigate more easily through our track. We can work on different sections, and if you've got a numeric keypad, you can just press the number and it will automatically jump and move the playhead to the start of that marker, but it will also move the cycle, the loop mode, to cover the duration of that marker as well. So that can be a very handy function as part of navigating through your session. And the final thing to do is to just go save as. If I hadn't saved I had saved the project already, it says session organisation, but if I hadn't, I would still go save as, navigate to where this is going to go, and if I've already got a version of it there, a sensible thing to do, and what a lot of people do, they'll archive, they'll either go V1, V2, V3 for the different versions. I like to go MK, so that's going to be Mark 2. That's going to be the second iteration, and what I might also do, pre-mix prep, something like that. So I know that it's the second version, I know what I've been working on for that, because you'll end up with really long subfolders with lots of different versions as you work through the project, and it's good to keep track of your progress at different sections, and it always allows you to go back to previous versions should you've had a session where you actually end up making it worse rather than better, which does happen to us. It does. Anybody who's done any long late night mixing sessions will be able to certainly identify with the issue of making it worse, having a listen the next day and going, oh, maybe it sounded a bit better the day before. So that's what I wanted to show you in this tutorial. This is our kind of basic but very, very, very important pre-mix prep.